Hey, everybody, welcome to the Fox Den. I know we've been out for a little while. It is all my fault. And we have James here. And you know how I usually have people off the screen and I play a bio video? Well, I did not have time to make him a bio video, so I am going to have to read his bio. Also, tonight's show is only going to be 1 hour, right? So we're going to try to cram pack this hour full of information about James. So, beginning with, for over 3 decades, James Twyman has been a global force for peace, leading millions of people in synchronized peace meditations across the world. As a New York Times bestselling author, he has written 24 books, including The Moses Code, and recorded 22 music albums selling over 350,000. That is 350,000 copies. And he has a guitar on the bed behind him, which we are going to ask him to sing later. Beyond his work as an author and a musician, James is a filmmaker, having directed or produced 7 feature films, including the award-winning Redwood Highway. He is a Franciscan, Episcopal priest. James founded Namaste Village, an interfaith community, spiritual community in how do you say?
In Ajijic, Mexico.
I thought it was AJIJIC. So what he said, Mexico. Now, home to 45 residences where people from around the world come together in a shared vision of unity and transformation. Now, James is turning his focus to one of the most urgent challenges of our time, the deep polarization dividing families, businesses, and nations. In his latest book, I Don't Know, Maybe, I Love You, How to Depolarize Your Family, Business, Country, and the World, is more than a call to awareness. It's a movement. With a mission to mobilize millions as depolarizing agents, James is dedicated to bridging divides, fostering understanding, and healing the fractures that threaten our global community. And welcome, James. You do a lot.
And all very
busy.
interesting.
Thank you. Yes, happy to be here.
Exactly. Now, I apologize again because I did not get a chance to read the book. And as you all that watch know, I love to read the books, and I didn't get a chance because I've been just extremely busy. But as I'm going to be answering some questions, I'm going to be, because we're only here for an hour, I want to be kind of putting these websites where you can get in touch with him up as quickly as I possibly can. There's a lot of them. There's 2 websites that are the same. This worldpeacepulse.com and the jamestwyman.com are the same. Then he has an Instagram, Jimmy James Twyman, and his Facebook, James Twyman Author. Okay, so we'll be putting those up throughout the show. And again, welcome. And what can a movement of depolarization help heal the divides that are tearing society apart right now? And that's like number 1 question on the list. And I usually don't just read questions, but that is a really good one.
It is a good one because it's so prevalent. It's such an important topic. We appear to be more polarized than we've ever been before, not only in the United States, but really in the world. I've been traveling all over the world lately. I just got back from Holland a couple of days ago. I was in Italy for a month before that. And so many countries are experiencing what we are experiencing here in the US, which is that families and groups and so many people are being pulled apart based upon what I like to call the pandemic of being right. This, I think, is the real pandemic. We are determined to prove our rightness. And in this quest, we are losing the most essential relationships and things that we have always taken for granted. And what I always say is that if we could just remember many of the lessons that we learned in kindergarten, we could come back together. Be kind, listen to one another, don't interrupt. These are very simple lessons that if we just if we just remember that we're here not so much to be right, but to be together, then this movement of depolarization begins to happen on its own. We begin to come back together naturally rather than being pulled apart for really the benefit of a very small group of people in politics.
You're
And
not kidding. I
yeah,
have never seen this country like this. And this, I mean, hey, a lot of my friends are Trumpies. I'm not, and they know I'm not. I just can't stand the man. I can't. However, I am not going to, unfriend my friends because they support him. I mean, hey, this is why we live in a free country, is because we can have our choices.
see, I just wish we could get back to the point where we could agree to disagree.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
you can have someone who's voting for Trump. Okay, I'll tell you a quick story that's actually in the book. And the person who I'm going to tell you about, I just was with 10 minutes ago. Her name is Vicky, and she's at this event that I'm at here in Wisconsin. So Vicky's been one of my very best friends for over 30 years. And the book, I don't know, maybe I Love You, covers a road trip that I took across the U.S. last September, right before the presidential election. And I was just talking to people about what was going on, what could bring us back together. And I had a few days off, so I went and visited my friend Vicky, who lives in New Jersey. And Vicky, if you asked anyone, they would tell you that she is one of the most loving, holy people in the world. And so I was profoundly surprised to find out that she was a supporter of Donald J. Trump. I I had a prejudice, I have to admit, that said that if you're a good person, if you're a loving person, you would never ever support someone who speaks like he does or does the things that he does. So to have someone who I respected so much have a different opinion, who I wasn't going to throw out of my life because of that opinion, it gave me pause. So I had the opportunity to practice what I talk about in the book, to listen, to honor, and to consider the possibility that there's something that I could learn from her. And really, the title of the book, I don't know, maybe I Love You, started with a conversation very similar that I had with my younger brother a few years ago. I think it was the beginning of COVID. And we were arguing about something. I forget what it was. But I just said to him, Kenny, I don't know, maybe I love you. And it just ended the argument like that. And that's the thing.
Nice.
Did he
You
get mad?
can't argue.
Did he get mad when
He did get mad. He said, I hate when you do that. How can I argue with you when you do that?
right?
Very true. Very true.
So if we're not pushing up against someone, if we're not resisting, the argument can't happen. So the truth is, I don't know. I don't know. None of us know what is the highest good right now. But maybe if I listen, to you, I'll learn something. But the key is that we have to love one another. If we're not doing that, then we're never going to be able to solve any of these problems.
Right. Now, we've already proven, though, that this world can come together because of COVID. You know what I mean? The whole world was on pause. The whole world agreed on one thing at one time, all together. So
Oh, did they? I don't remember
I
that.
don't remember that part.
Yeah.
possibility.
We'll say
Well, it
85%.
shut down. COVID, it shut down. The whole world shut down. No one was going to work except essential workers. I mean, it did for the most part. I mean, come on, and then it's back to the norm now, where it's just a giant mess again. But it gave you the opportunity to understand that there is a distinct possibility that this can happen.
Yeah.
That things can pull together and stuff. However, we do need good leadership also. And I mean, I think that's imperative, and at least one that can speak the English language. But besides that, I mean, like I said, I have plenty of friends I love, friends I admire, very intelligent, just like you have your friend, very intelligent, loving people. that support him and just think that he's going to do things that haven't been done in the country thus far, like deporting illegals, stuff like that. It's like, okay, all right, yeah. If you're here illegally, okay, yeah. I mean, but do you have to go to this craziness? You know what I mean? It's,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple good does not outweigh the rest to me, but I'm trying. I'm trying to understand, and yeah, I don't want to get way off topic because I can get there quickly, huh, Mama?
Yes, you can. But I'll have to admit that since I first met Gina, now Gina and I have never met face to face. It's only this way. I'm up in Canada, she's in the States. I listen because my husband's American, so he pays attention to the U.S. news, and I can tell when things are not going well because he's like yelling at the TV. But since I've met Gina, she has learned to calm down a little more because she doesn't snap as hard or as quickly. So for me, you're expanding your, like James says, you're listening, you're paying attention. You may not agree with what people are saying, but you're starting to listen more because you used to just like, you'd be talking about, you'd be like rabid dog, but now you go, okay, well, what, whatever. Unless, of course, somebody's attacking you or someone that you love, well, then it's no holds barred. But yeah, listening. And the thing is, people are not used to being heard. And that's the bizarre fact of it. When you want to get along with somebody, you want to understand it, you have to listen to them. You have to stop and not just listen, but hear the words that this is not just what. It's not Charlie Brown's teacher. You have to hear the words that they're saying and where it comes from.
When people ask me what the first step is in this process of depolarization, I usually say curiosity. Like you said, to listen. We have to listen to one another. And that's what's been lacking.
Yeah.
Like if I have someone who I find out, like my friend, Vicky, that she has a particular idea, supports a particular candidate, the temptation is to say, well, then you're out. I don't want to even listen to you. I've already made up my mind of what is right and what is wrong. And if you agree with me, fine. This is the pandemic of being right. But if you disagree with me, then you're out. And we've seen this tear families apart. We've seen people who have been very close no longer relate to one another. So listening, like you said, Mama D, is the beginning. Curiosity. We have to stop and just say, hey, tell me more.
Yeah.
Tell me why you believe that. Why do you support this person or these actions? And be honestly curious.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe I'm going to learn something. That's the second step in the title. I don't know. Maybe. And then always to come back to, I love you.
I love you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like it's true. It's something that, again, people, I think we used to do it, but now we need to get back to it because not everybody agrees. I may not agree something that Gina does, which is a rarity, but it could happen in the future. But it doesn't stop me from loving her. It doesn't stop me from not wanting to listen to hear her side of it. There's two sides to every coin. The coin is still one piece, but there's two sides to it. And to understand both sides, you have to listen to them.
That's right.
So how are you planning on starting this movement that you want to?
Well, what I'm doing right now, talking to people, the book, I don't know, maybe I love you, getting the word out. There are so many people like all of us on both sides of the argument who are committed to finding ways to bring us closer together rather than push us further apart. And it begins by realizing that we want the same thing. Ultimately, it's not that this group wants this kind of world and the other group wants another kind of world. We all want to have a world where we feel safe, where we have everything we need, our families are taken care of, we all have the medical care that we deserve. These are all things that we all want. So let's focus there rather than on pushing each other away on the things that we don't want. These are so simple, really, but we've gotten the energy so excited that it's hard for us to remember that we can come together. I've spent a lot of time going to war zones and countries that are in great conflict. I'll give you one example. I remember in 1998, I was invited by Saddam Hussein to come to Iraq to do a peace concert there. And it was at the same time that we were beginning a major confrontation once again. It looked like it was inevitable. And I was able to do the concert. Millions of people came together at the same moment to be praying for that situation, which is, I think, what helped to dissolve whatever the issue was. But the most interesting thing is that when it was over, they had a big party for me where we sat around singing Simon and Garfunkel songs.
Nice.
This was in Baghdad. So we have a lot more in common, even in a country like that. We wanted the same thing for ourselves, for our families, for our countries. We just have to remember. And one of the first steps, as I said, is to be curious and to listen to one another rather than immediately just stopping someone, pushing them away because they don't agree with everything that we believe.
Yeah.
Right. Well, these things too, I mean, they're taught, you know, in these like third world countries, you know, they're taught these things as young children in the propaganda and the everything else. So they don't, that's all they know, you know, they don't have the expanse, the things that we have available to us to learn either. So I think globally, the more we can teach, the better off the world will be, you know, not to fear your neighbor.
Yeah. These are simple lessons. Like I said, kindergarten. Just remember the lessons we learned in kindergarten. We can get pretty far with them right now.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is great. This is another thing about the Trump thing going on here now too. I mean, I said it at the beginning when I was snappy. At the beginning when the election was going on, I'm like, he is for the billionaires. He's not for you. You know, I mean, the normal working class, everyday person who they think that, you know, he's going to do all this stuff for. And it's like, he's not. He's for his billionaire buds because that's all he knows. That's what he knows. That's what he was taught from childhood. That is what he knows. And, you know, it's like you can't lead that horse to a different water pool because he won't go, you know, and he doesn't understand. And he thinks he's doing wonderful.
He thinks he's doing right because that's the way he was raised. But a lot, again, just like James said, everybody has to kind of sort of be open to the idea of listening because people are so afraid of things that they don't know, they don't understand. It's like, oh my God,
fear,
you know, it's a Muslim. That means everybody that's Muslim is, you know, nasty creature. Psh, no. But the idea that they see somebody with a hijab or a turban or looks a little bit different, then if they don't understand it, they fear it. And when you fear it, you won't stop to listen. So that for me, that's my thing is like, I'm open. The woman that you see in front of me was not the person growing up. I was two totally different. I'm a little bit calmer now, at least on air. But I never used to listen. I just had I thought what I thought was right, and that was it. And being a redhead, I was very stubborn about it. Now I'm like, even my children can come to me and say, Mom, this is my issue, but I don't want to speak to Mom. I want to speak to Mama D because Mom would probably lose her mind. But Mama D can see both sides of the fence. So I listen to what they have to say, and then they ask for my opinion. Or you can just vent whatever you got to vent, and then you're good. But in the idea of listening to somebody talk about what they're going through, what they need, there's going to be little glitches that will stick into people's brains. Sometimes it's good things and sometimes not. But the point is, you've got to be, like you said, curious enough. For me, it would be curious enough is this friendship the most important thing to me? Is important to me. And if it is, there's got to be a way for me to understand why they, like, you know, Quebec wants to separate from Canada. So why do the separatists want to separate from Canada? I have to learn to listen to them to understand why they want it. I still don't agree with it, but you got to listen. I know it's not as crazy as things that are going on in the world, but it just proves that people, if we really want to make things better for our children and our grandchildren, we've got to start. We've got to start listening. We've got to start hearing, and we've got to start just being an all around better person in the morning.
You know, when I was beginning to write this book, I was in a town called North Conway, New Hampshire. I was doing a show there. And as I said, it was right before the US election. And there was a man, I went to a cafe, and there was a man on the street, and he had a big sign that said, "Vote Trump or else." And his car was covered with Trump signs.
Mhm.
And of course, my immediate feeling was, this is not someone I want to talk to. This is not someone I'm going to agree with.
Right.
But I knew that I was going to begin writing this book, because what had happened was the night before I had gone out to dinner with a good friend and his wife. They
Mhm.
were sponsoring the event. And I didn't realize this, but his wife owns a publishing company. And I told her, you know,
Okay.
after 23 books, I'm not going to write any more books. But if I were to write a book, this is the book I would write. And I told her the story about my brother. I told her the idea. And she said, if you write that book, I will publish it. I said, I guess I'm writing
Nice.
the book then.
No
So that
coincidence.
morning, I see this guy with these signs, and I thought, well, I need to practice what I'm talking about. I need to be
Mhm.
willing to listen to
Listen.
him.
Yep.
So I did. And that's right. There are radicals on both sides.
Yep.
And I don't want to be one of those on the far left, just like he's on the far. We're not going to get anywhere. So I
No.
went out and I just said, hello, nice to meet you. I'd love to hear more. Now, I think he realized right away that I was on the other side of the fence.
Mhm.
And at first he was pretty protective. But when he realized that I wasn't there to try and convince him that he was wrong,
Yeah.
I was there just to listen to him. He
Mhm.
did something amazing. You know what he did? He asked what I thought.
Nice.
Now, he probably wouldn't have done that if I hadn't been willing to
Well, yeah, if
listen.
you went up to him combative, then
Yeah,
it would
if
have been
I'd
a
gone
big
and said,
fight in
how
the
could you
streets.
possibly hold this ridiculous sign, Trump or else? It's
Right.
just whatever. He would never have been open. But and this is part of the miracle. The gift that I give to you, you're probably going to want to give back to me. If I'm listening to you, you might listen more to what I have to say. Next thing you know, we're coming closer together. We're not
Yeah.
being pushed further apart. So I say, whatever can bring us closer together, that's what this movement is about. And that website that you put on before, de-polarize.com, that's the website for the book. And we have a little survey that you can take that'll take 2 minutes. And
Here it is.
if you fill out the survey, it helps us to know the best ways that we can help spread this movement. And we invite everyone on every side of the spectrum. If you're committed to bringing us closer together rather than being part of this terrible polarization that's taking place, then
Mhm.
join us. We need people of every belief, of every political
So
part.
what, in other words, you are not trying to convert people into, you know, like the Catholics did when they went and raided everybody and everyone had to be a Catholic, or, you know what I mean, or Christians and whatever.
That's right.
You're not doing that kind of stuff here. All right. This
No.
is not kumbaya. We are not drinking Kool-Aid. All right.
No.
What we are
Right.
doing is allowing people to be people, yet accepting and listening and understanding and trying to understand what each other's viewpoints are, rather than the fear, the, you know, my way or the highway, all that kind of stuff, you know, that's getting us nowhere.
Yeah.
And I think over the past couple of years here, that's definitely come to light. You
Yeah.
know?
Now, there's a comment in the chat room, and I like this one, Taryn. Love you for this one. It's really not how Charlie Kirk was. He always left the floor open for discussion for everyone, no matter what they believed or supported. Now, this is the man who was murdered by an imbecile. I don't care what side of the fence he's on, what he is, an imbecile, because my perspective on this is he didn't understand the man. He just went on what he believed. You know,
No one
so
deserves to die for your belief.
oh God, no. I mean, I may not agree with his political views, but I agree the way he, like Terrence says, he leaves the floor open for discussion. He just doesn't say, one, two, three, this is the way it goes. There's no other way around it. And then just, let it go. You have to be willing to have people go, but why? But how? To question it and to be able to explain why you are the way you are, why you like what you like or don't like what you like, don't like.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good example. I don't think anyone thinks that anything other than that was a terrible, terrible act.
Yeah.
And all it does is push us further to the side. It doesn't help.
Nope.
In
No.
fact, it hurts us more and more. We need
Yeah.
to embrace one another, listen to one another, be willing to consider other possibilities. That's why I don't know, maybe I love you. This is a formula. If we could just put that formula to practice in our life, what I say is the next time you meet someone who has a different opinion, let's say that you did not support or do not support Donald Trump, and this other person does, perfect opportunity to practice this.
Yep.
Ask questions, get curious. Say, just realize first that you don't know. You have your opinion, just like they have their opinion.
Yep.
But none of us know for sure what the right response is. So the next step is always, maybe I'm going to learn something here.
Oh, yeah.
But always keep that feeling that your heart open. Always keep your heart open to that person. Because when we close our hearts, we never get anywhere. We just harden our position, get pushed further to the side. And
it's building that wall bigger and bigger, and you're not letting people in. But the point of not letting people in is you're not letting yourself out either. You just build a wall around you. You're stuck in there, stuck with that. So if you want to do a little bit more, even if it's just a smidgen, like James says, even if you just see somebody go, I want to talk to Gina about why she likes, bite your tongue, Donald Trump. It's something I listen to. And the thing is, people get so heated. You have to learn to breathe through your listening, through your understanding. Don't just kind of go, okay, I like Donald Trump because he's got orange hair. So do I. You must love me too. Something as simple as that. Listen to what people say. And I'm looking forward. I'm going retail therapy, shopping for all your stuff because.
Hold on. I'm going to show something here. Now, he's written 24 books. This is just some of those books. The one that we're talking about, I don't know.
One of the top ones right over his head. It's the light bulb moment.
Right. So that's the one that we're talking about tonight. However, we can talk about any one of these. He's look at the books and look at the titles of the proof, Emissary of Light, the Kabbalah Code. Except the barn dance. I'm not understanding the barn dance one. The richest man in the world. It's like these books all prove the type of man that he is, where his faith is, where his beliefs are. All of those things are all about community and bringing people together. He started a community. He's been in communities. He started his community in Mexico where people are living. It's what he lives. It's what he breathes and what he's trying to put out there. Yeah. And I admire that. I really do. I admire that a lot. I wish a lot more people could understand. Oh, Taryn's, I don't know where you left off. Have you paid attention to where Taryn's thing is? This one here is the latest. All right. It's okay to agree, to disagree. It's about how we perceive life and what each other one believes. Just because people have different views doesn't make one or the other wrong. Completely and totally 100% true.
Yep.
You are, you have the right to your opinion. You do. Everyone does, but it doesn't mean you beat it into someone. You don't have to change someone.
One of the things that's challenging for me, and I think for many people, so I am, as you mentioned in the introduction, an Episcopal priest. And so I consider myself someone who really tries to follow the lessons that were taught by Jesus 2,000 years ago.
Mhm.
And what Jesus taught was to love your neighbor, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you. He
Mhm.
said, blessed are the peacemakers. He talked about welcoming the stranger and the immigrant, and that which you do to the least of these, you do to me. These were all the lessons of the Christ. And yet there's so many people today who call themselves Christians who do and believe the exact opposite. And this is very challenging to me. So my message to Christians is be Christian. It's that
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
Oh my
Don't
God.
claim to be a Christian and do the
Mhm.
opposite or believe the opposite of what Jesus taught, because then you're not. It's
Yeah.
that simple.
Yeah.
You
And
you
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 can't.
can't claim to be
I was
you
raised
can't
a
claim to be
Catholic.
something and but
Yeah.
do the opposite.
Yeah, but I was raised a Catholic, and I, yes, I went, I did all the things. I did the communion and the confirmation and all the stuff. But I myself personally take a little bit of every religion and put it together for what fits me.
As
You
do
know,
I.
so I'm like mixed breed. However, like the war, just going back in history, all these wars over religious beliefs.
Mhm.
I
Well,
mean,
it's funny. They say that more people have been killed in the name of Jesus
right,
Mm.
than any other person in history.
right,
The greatest peacemaker of all time. More murder has been done in his name.
Yeah.
So we have to realize the insanity of that, and to remember not to get pulled by the crowd. There's a poster that a dear friend of mine has. His name is Roger Dufault, and he's a French chef who has a beautiful B&B and restaurant in outside Toronto. And he in the men's room there's a poster. I love this poster. The poster has hundreds of white sheep all pushed together running toward a cliff, and you see all the sheep going off the cliff. And in the middle, you have one black sheep going the opposite way, saying, excusez-moi, excusez-moi.
I
And
know.
this is what we have to,
I love
we're
being
all the
called the
black
black sheep.
sheep. Yeah, we're the black sheep. So excuse me,
Yeah.
but I'm going that way. I'm not moving, I'm not going toward the cliff. The cliff. I want to go in the right direction. And that direction is only going to come to us if we listen to each other, we get more curious, and we prioritize loving. You see, if you want to go back to the Christian thing, there's only one time that Jesus gave an actual commandment. And that commandment, he said, was to love one another.
Yep.
That's it. That's all we're here to do, is to love one another no matter what. He didn't say love only the people who agree with you. He didn't say to love the people who voted like you voted. He said love one another like I loved you, without conditions. And if we add that no matter what, then I think we're heading in the right direction.
Right. I mean, I think we have to abolish, the greed, the lust, the envy, all of those horrible
Mhm.
things. That's what rules everything. Okay, we go. Did I already put this one up? No.
No,
I
I
didn't.
just got there. No.
I think I'm Christian. I learned recently that if I believe in a higher power, that I am agnostic. I don't know how true that is. I mean, I do believe that the stories in the Bible were documented events, but again, it was each person's perception of the events that took place. Okay, what do you say to that?
Sure. I mean, just because what she said about believing in a higher power does not make you an agnostic. An agnostic is someone who says, I don't really know. An atheist says there is no God. A deist says there is a God. An agnostic says, I don't know. I'm open.
Yeah.
Maybe we all need to be agnostics and be more open, rather than saying this is the way or that is the way. Let's be open to one another, because it's in that opening where love can sneak in and do its work
Mhm.
with us.
And that would be
Very
great. What are the beads in your hands? Is this rosary? Just
Oh, it's just a rosary that I always have around my wrist. It just helps me keep centered.
I like
That's awesome.
it. It's nice.
That's awesome. Can we talk about your music briefly here? Now, do you write
Sure.
these songs that you and you 350,000 copies you have sold of your
Yeah,
albums. That's insane.
yeah, primarily one CD sold many hundreds of copies, but yeah, I started all, I've been a musician all my life, but gosh, 30 years ago, I think it was, I was given a sheet of paper that had the peace prayers from the 12 major religions of the world. And in 1 hour, I had this amazing experience where I put them all to music. It was just, they were there. And I picked up my guitar and just began to play along. In fact, I was in a hotel room, much like this one, when it happened. And I started traveling the world being called the Peace Troubadour. And I was getting invited to many countries at war, like Iraq and Bosnia, Croatia, South Africa, and many, many more countries. And the reason I wanted to go to these countries is sometimes when we sing together and pray together, something magical happens.
Mhm.
So I would say first and foremost, I'm a musician.
Very nice. Okay, so now Taryn put out the big question. Yeah, that's what I mean. Okay, like I believe in a higher power, but what is it? Well, that's the question of the day. It's something that's greater than you.
Well, ultimately, it's you,
Mhm.
just not the you that you think you are, not the you, the identity with a
Mhm.
small y, Jimmy, James, Darlene, or Gina, or that's not the you. The you that is one with reality. You could say one with God, one with everyone. You see, there's only one thing happening here. It seems like there's a lot of different things competing and all, it's a mess when we look at it from that perspective. But the spiritual journey is when we go in and realize there's just one. So the simplest answer is it's you, but you need to discover the you that is known by God, not the you that you've identified as outside the presence of God.
That's
Wow.
nice.
I did
Don't
not
get me going
expect
deep.
that. I like it.
Don't get me going deep.
I won't, but can we maybe persuade you to play us a little
Pick up the
snippet
guitar and
of something?
Sure. I just happen to have a guitar. A
Handy,
type
right
of
there. Look
guitar.
at this.
This is not a normal guitar. It's called a Venezuelan tiple.
oh,
It's got 12 strings. So I'll tell you what, I'll play the prayer that started it all for me.
Okay.
In fact, just a few days before, maybe one day before I put all those 12 peace prayers to music, I was at my family's home in Minnesota, and I was in a drawer and I found a holy card that had a picture of St. Francis and a prayer that is often called the prayer of St. Francis. And I decided that I wanted to put that to music. So this is the version that I wrote. And I would say of all the literally thousands of songs that I've written, this is maybe the most important. Oh Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, bring your love. Where there is injury, pardon. And where there is doubt, bring your faith. Where there is despair, bring your hope. Where there is darkness, bring And where there is sadness, your joy. O divine Master, grant that we may not seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. We are now your instruments, beloved, for it is in giving that we receive, in pardoning that we are pardoned, and in dying to ourselves that we live. Oh Lord, make me an instrument of your peace, of your peace, of your peace.
Thank you. Oh my God. I haven't heard that in so many years. And the funniest thing is the church that I was born and raised in was St. Francis of Assisi.
There you go.
And that's where I first saw my angels.
Yeah, she saw angels in church, and she's sitting in the pews talking to angels rather than listening to the services.
Father Richard wasn't too impressed.
Oh, look at Taryn clapping too.
Terrence clapping.
I love you, Taryn. This is my girl. So, okay, you were talking before, and now we have a little bit more, time under the belt. I want you to kind of go over the steps again on like how people can do this for themselves. Step 1, step 2, step 3. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
to get into these conversations. So I just want to
just remember the title of the book and begin by noticing and realizing that I don't have all the answers. This pandemic of being right, I fall into that trap just as much as anyone else does. Someone says something and I immediately think they're wrong. Right.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're talking about. And we need to pause when we feel that. And it's natural. But maybe we need to pause and just say, well, I don't know. I have my opinion, and that's okay. Just like someone else may have their opinion that's different than mine. And I don't need to change anyone, but I need to realize that I don't necessarily know what needs to happen to bring us back together.
Nope.
So it's probably clear that I'm not a supporter of the current administration, but I don't know that that's not exactly what it's going to take for us to come back together. Maybe it's going to get to the point where we just don't have a choice, where we have to come back together. I don't know. So begin there. The second step is maybe if I listen to you, maybe if I am curious and just give myself the opportunity to hear your perspective, maybe I'll learn something. It may or may not change my mind,
Right.
but what it may do is bring us closer together. And then to have at the very core of all of our interactions, love, respect, and honoring. This is the thing that seems to have gone out the window. It used to be that we could honor and love each other even if we didn't agree. I don't know why that's changed, but it seems to have changed. So I think if we can just remember those 3 steps to realize I don't have all the answers. Maybe I can listen to you. Maybe I'll learn a bit more, but I love you no matter what. These are this is the foundation that if we can follow and we can get a movement of people following them, then we're going to come closer together quicker than I think we can even imagine.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. And I mean, just doing something simple as sharing the show is participating. Going on to his Instagrams or whatever, or sharing things that he's done is part of that,
Yep.
getting the word out that there is something in place, that there are people, like-minded people, wanting to do this, wanting to show by example, that it's possible. And, I think I was getting very, very down. I really was, like, there's just no hope here. I just feel like this is the era of narcissistic bullying,
All kinds of that stuff.
all that fear mongering, all these things that are just taking all the good people and pushing them down and putting them all in a little box, And I think it's time for the little people that have been smushed in the box to start coming out of the box and showing again by example, not doing what they're doing, not fighting back, but showing respect, love, and that there is another way.
Honoring back, honoring one another.
Yeah.
Because regardless of what we believe, like we said, we all want the same thing. We all want to create a peaceful world for ourselves, for our families, and we all want to have our needs taken care of. We may disagree on how we're going to make that happen, but we can at least begin there. And if we can start in one place, then maybe that's going to be the first step of many, but we're going to walk them together rather than walking them separately.
Right. Because it's like people think things are everybody's so different. But I bring it down to, for me, which is basics, is like every woman has been somebody's daughter. Every man has been somebody's son. And if you look at it that way, that basically we're all the same. We're somebody's son or somebody's daughter. And as we grow, we age into different positions, but you're still connected with somebody. I mean, I may not agree with everything that my children do, but they will always be my children. I may not agree with what my husband does. I can dump him to the side of the trash. Well, just yet. I still need him around. I like him. I like having him around. But you have to realize that there's a connection so long as you open that window. There's always going to be fresh air on the other side. I think sometimes it's not always super fresh, but you can learn, like we said in the beginning, listen, hear people, hear what they have to say. It's like when you said that you saw a gentleman with the sign that says, vote for Trump or else. I'm the type of person that would have written a sign, free hugs for anyone. And I would have stood right next to him. It's like, because like you said, you took the time to listen to what he had to say. If you take the time to listen to what other people say, their perspective on things, you'd be amazed at the stuff that you'll learn.
That's right.
I've got a point though. Now, there are things that happen, like forgiveness is a pretty hefty ask on a lot of people. It really is. I'm one of them. Like you do me wrong, and it's going to take a lot for me to forgive you if I ever do. And it would have to be something seriously horrible. And I have to admit, and I'm always honest, right? There are a couple people in the world, just two, that I can say wholeheartedly, I hate them. All right. I just hate them. No, make it three. I hate them. Right? If you sat me in a room with them, it would be like hell freezing over. Okay. For me to listen to them. So what is your suggestion for me to get over that
Mm,
just ultimate hate?
that's a big question, and yet it's really important. So I was trying not to go too deep, but you've asked a very deep question, so I'll do
Go
my
deep.
best.
Go deep. I need it.
Okay, so when we have a strong reaction to someone, what they're really doing is putting a mirror up to us and showing us something that we don't want to see about ourselves. And so it's easy for us to project those feelings onto the other person, to push them away so that we don't have to deal with what's inside of us. So the key to forgiveness is to forgive yourself, and to realize that that person, they have whatever issue they have, but I'm not helping me by holding on to that grievance. I'm only hurting myself. You've probably heard the old saying that that hating someone or not forgiving them is like drinking poison expecting it to hurt them.
Yeah.
It's only hurting you
Yep.
by holding on to that. So begin by asking, what is it in me that that they're reflecting to me that I need to forgive? And what you'll probably find is that when you get to the core of that and you're able to identify that and love yourself in spite of whatever that is,
Mhm.
whatever you're feeling for them is going to automatically lessen, and you're going to feel something release in that. And that's what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is not just saying, well, you did something to me and I'm going to, forgive you for it. It's much deeper than that.
It
And
is. It's
it
a really
really,
big thing. And
yeah,
in the words to
eh,
say I'm sorry and forgiveness. Those are very, very big, hard
yeah.
things.
And it's not just the surface, you have to go deep. You have to dig deep to find out what's really going on. What is it that I'm not seeing about myself that I'm projecting onto that other person? What hateful thing am I not of me that I'm not seeing that I'm giving to them?
Mhm.
It's deep but very important work.
Okay. But what if it comes from a place of jealousy on their part? Like,
But that's their issue, not yours.
oh, I know. It's the
Mhm.
actions that are put in place due to other people's jealousies. This is what it is like, I mean,
These are questions that you might have wanted to ask at the beginning of the interview, not at the very end, because
right.
I can't give you good
Next time.
answers.
Yeah.
Let's just stick with the fact that that I have to do the inner work.
Yeah.
It's up to me, especially in everything we've talked about here today in this political environment. Ultimately, the problems that we're having in the world are not political. The problems that we're seeing are not even social. They're really a deep spiritual issue.
Mhm.
And the only place where I can really solve that issue is within myself, not out here. But I have to do the work so that I can be forgiving, so that I can be loving when it's hard to love.
Mm.
For me to be able to love a political leader like Donald Trump, it's hard, but this is where the work is, and this is also where these are the things that are going to begin bringing us closer together rather than pushing us further apart.
Right. Now, and social media too is a big part of all of this.
Oh, good Lord.
It sure is.
Like it can be used for good, and it's a lot used for bad. So, I mean, I think we need to push what's the good social media out there, and just block
Yeah.
out bad.
Well, one of the things that I wrote about it in the book is that the algorithms of social media tell us what we already believe, and therefore convince us that we're right about what we believe. For example, if I am a COVID denier and I look at one video about that,
Mhm.
the algorithms, which doesn't have a mind, it just responds.
Yeah.
It's going to say, oh, that's what they believe, so I should give them more of that. So they're not going to give me anything
Mhm.
that is the opposite of what I'm telling it I already believe. So every video that's going to come through is going to be a video about COVID denying. Therefore, I can easily say, well, I'm right. Look, all these other people agree with me.
Yeah.
But the opposite would be true if I looked at a different video. So I think at some point we've got to do something
Yeah.
about
And
social media.
right. And the news channel that you watch too.
Yeah,
Fox
exactly.
News, CNN, right? Case in point. So
Yes.
different. So different. You know, if you watch Fox News, you're going to be like, oh, well, this. And if you watch CNN, oh, well, that. You know, I mean, it's, yeah, it's a big thing. However, we're at an hour, and you
Yeah.
are at an event that you do need to go back and see your people out there that you haven't seen in 10 years. And I appreciate you taking some time, spending some time with us. Let me just put up again here. This is just some of his books. Okay, I want you to go to his website, check him out, look at all the things he's done. Now, these books, they're all available on Amazon and or through your website.
Yeah, you can find them pretty much anywhere.
Okay, anywhere books are sold. And again, depolarize.com.
Yeah, go there and fill out that short little survey. That will help us find ways that we can promote this movement of depolarization.
Okay.
Right.
I think I put the links into the chat rooms, by the way.
Right. And then we have two websites that are pretty much the same there. Jimmy James is on Instagram. Okay. James Twyman, author, is Facebook. And I just so appreciate, you know, you spending some time with us. I love and appreciate everything that you're doing. It is so needed in this.
It sure is.
In this time.
Atmosphere of fire that we're living in now, and it has to stop. So if we can start here, great. You know, keep up the good work. You know, we'll try to.
Yes, thank you very much.
You know,
thank you so much for having me on the program. I really appreciate it.
It's been a blast. It's been.
I'd love to have you again sometime. Maybe we can have, you know, do a regular 2-hour show. I can get some more good questions to get more in-depth answers, because I think I was just starting to crack a little egg there. So, but I do appreciate it. So hang on with us. You guys, thanks for joining us again. We'll be back next week, regular time, 8 to 10. We will see you then. And for now, buonanotte, everyone.
Night, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D. We are here every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you a variety of guests or our own intuitive oracle card reading shows. We are streaming live on Facebook on my personal page and our YouTube channel, the Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, on Mama D's YouTube channel, Angel Meadows, as well as our audio-only venues. We hope you enjoyed our show and our guest or your reading, and we would love it if you would go to our YouTube channel, The Fox Den with Gina B and Mama D, subscribe, share, and definitely hit that notification button to never miss a show. We'll see you all next week, and subscribers, watch for our pop-up shows as well.